To bring in Holiday, veteran, playoff experience is good. You're going to slide him into a DH spot. Okay, he'll see some time in the outfield. He's still capable of playing it. But now coming out of the National League, it's a little bit of, weight lifted off your shoulders. You can maybe just hit, maybe just play 5 days a week, something like that. Probably treat him kind of like how they did Beltran. And I think that's fine. They've been looking for a righty power hitter.
He doesn't have as much of a big injury history as Beltran did.
And he's
Beltran had a lot of
right,
problems.
and he's way more mobile than Beltran is in the outfield. I'm not, putting him into the, DH spot already, but so he'll probably see some time in the outfield, sometime DH. They've been looking for a righty power hitter. I mean, that's.
I think Holiday, if things go right for him, and he's playing DH regularly, I think he's going to hit at least 20.
Yeah, definitely.
At least 20 for sure, and that's hoping he stays healthy,
right?
Because I think he's very capable. He's actually one of the more underrated hitters of his generation. I know he played for the Rockies early on in his career, but he went to a tough baseball town in St. Louis, and he won a World Series there, and he played pretty well there.
He's played in some big parks all his life. I mean,
Colorado's
a hitter's park.
He was at Oakland.
But yeah, he was in
People
Oakland.
forget he was at Oakland, and he got traded over to the Cardinals. Yeah,
so
for that.
I mean, I think and again, they didn't overpay. $13 million. They would have paid
no.
more.
I mean, the QOs for players this year are 17.8. So you're looking at a guy like Neil Walker that accepted that, and he's getting paid 17.8 by the Mets, and he's coming off of back surgery. And back surgery, no matter what your age is in a baseball in a sport like baseball, where you're traveling all the time and you're sitting on a plane, lots of plane flights. I think in the long term, it doesn't bode well as Holiday's injuries. So looking at that. The Orioles. There's been rumors about them and the Mets and possible Granderson or Bruce. Granderson obviously getting more attention than Bruce just because Grandy's had a better body of work over the course of his career, and Bruce struggled in New York towards the end. But Bruce, I think, is at $13 million for this year as a player option. Grandy's at $15. He had one of the weirdest seasons where he was hitting at least like 30 home runs, and it was only like 50-something RBIs.
Yeah,
it was really weird.
A lot of solo shots.
But if you're the Orioles and you only had to give up one reliever, which guy do you want?
To be honest,
you only get him for 1 year because they only got 1 year left on their deals.
I'm the Orioles, and I'm thinking also on the opposite side as a Yankee fan, I want Bruce. You already smashed the ball out of the park with everybody. You got Machado, you got Chris Davis. You have guys you got Wieters. They got guys that hit a ton of homers. You had Bruce that lineup. There is no way to pitch around anybody.
But that's if you keep Trumbo, and there have been reports that they don't know if Trumbo's going to be staying there.
Well, that's if they keep. Oh well, in that case, then maybe you do want Bruce, because if you can move Trumbo's coming off a huge year. You kind of replace Bruce with Trumbo. Bruce is going to hit homers. You don't need Bruce to hit for average in Baltimore's lineup. Bruce is going to pretty much do what Trumbo did from the left side of the plate. And if you can move Trumbo and add pieces to that, I think that's better than just getting Granderson.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think they're looking at it as Granderson also had a better OBP. The year the Mets went to the World Series, he really had a really good year. It was a good bounce back year for him.
Right.
He's played pretty well in his 3 seasons with the Mets so far, but I think if you're just looking at it and you need a guy for 1 year that has been there and done that, and he's played in both teams in New York, and he's been to a World Series with the Tigers, I think it's Grandy you got to go look to get.
The only thing I look at is you don't really have a place for Granderson in the outfield, so you're going to be.
You put him in right field. I mean, Bruce and Granderson are both playing right field. That's the way it's going. I mean, I don't see that many other teams possibly. There was ideas of people kicking the tires on Granderson and Bruce, and a prospect for David Robertson from the White Sox, because the Mets are probably going to need bullpen help. Sandy Alderson already said that Addison Reed will be the closer if Familia will get suspended, depending on what the ruling is in the coming weeks with the assault charges.
Yep.
So I mean, there's a possibility there because Robertson's controllable for the next 2 years. He's been in New York. Do you like that deal if the Mets are able to not give up too much?
If the Mets are able to not give up too much, absolutely.
Say it's a secondary guy. Say you give up Bruce, Nimmo, and Cecchini, one of the two, and say that's good enough for the White Sox.
I think absolutely. I mean, again, the White Sox are looking to ship players out. They're looking to rebuild, getting more prospects. And Robertson is a proven closer and setup guy in this league. And whether
he was a top 3 setup man in baseball when he was with the Yankees.
Yeah.
And
another he's a solid. He gets into trouble. I mean, he doesn't have the lowest ERA, but he gets outs. You know, he's 30, 35
he did
saves.
Well. He was really good. I think he just went. I mean, it's the Chicago White Sox.
It wasn't a good team.
To sum up the Chicago White Sox perfectly, like people forgot that they broke their 80-year curse when they won the World Series in 2005, and a lot of people forget they won the World Series in 2005. Right. So that's what people really think about the White Sox in terms of baseball. But another huge factor that you have to think about is that when a guy like Mark Melancon's getting $60 million and he's had a couple good seasons, but you got a guy like David Robertson who's controllable, doesn't cost as much as a guy like that, and he's controllable through the next 2 years, and he's been proven, I think he can get more than Bruce and a secondary prospect. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see what the White Sox can pull off, because I really think they can do a great rebuild out over there, and I think they have the tools, unlike the Athletics, which we see the Athletics get good guys and they tear it down and get prospects and rebuild. But they could actually spend some money, because who knows, maybe Moncada does well enough. And they have Jose Abreu, and they have solid pitching. It's not that bad. I know they lost Sale, but they still have pretty good pitchers there.
They're expecting Quintana to be, top tier. He'll get there.
I think there's some optimism for it. But yeah, I mean that wraps it up for the winter meet. Actually, well, one more topic to discuss. So the Nats whiffed on, obviously they whiffed on Sale. They didn't offer as much as the Red Sox did, clearly. There were reports that they were going after McCutchen, but obviously nothing is done now. If they set their sights on him, do you like that move for them?
I don't necessarily even like it that much. I think Andrew McCutchen's a tad bit overrated. But I also think the Nationals have to make that move, because they're not going to keep Bryce Harper. He's not going to stay in Washington.
You don't think so? I mean, no, I think they have the richest owner
and I'm not
in
even
baseball.
saying he's coming to the Yankees. That's not. I don't even necessarily.
What team
want
do you
that
think
much.
is going to break the bank for that? I mean, I think there's only a handful of teams that will pay $400 million.
I think there's only a handful of teams that can.
Yeah.
And
how many of them will?
I mean, Dodgers don't even have the money to.
But this is 2 years down the road.
This is too. I mean, so you never know. But who knows? I mean, can you imagine what?
Cubbies are locked up towards Hayward. That's a monster contract, and eventually they're going to have to pay Bryant. They're going to have to pay Rizzo.
Yeah.
Hendricks is looking at a contract coming up. Arrieta's got to get paid. Yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of other guys there.
I just don't think. I think off the bat, I think $400 million is just absurd to begin with. I don't think anybody.
And the Nats have a lot of money locked up towards people. They got to trade Gio. First of all, Gio Gonzalez, I think, is a guy that has to go. I think that's some money dedicated towards there. And look, we're talking about it. Melanson's gone. If they're going to pony up some money, they got to go and get either Jansen or Chapman. Otherwise, at the back end of games, we know they have problems winning in the playoffs. What are they going to do now if they don't have a closer?
I think they probably have to go Chapman. And Chapman's looking for his.
He's going 6 for 100.
6 for 100. That's a lot of money for a closer. And that's a lot of years. So if the Nationals, have to go anywhere, if they don't, if they can't get Bryce back eventually, and they don't make a move from McCutchen, that money has to get spent on a closer. Because at least if you're not going to put up the runs that you want to put up, at least you could shut games down at some point, which they could not do this year.
I think the underrated thing, they were very fortunate to get Murphy pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Murphy was 3 for 37, and he could have won MVP.
Right.
I personally thought he should have won it, but that's
right.
just me. I mean, there was a really good case for him, and you can kind of rely on Murphy for that, but he has had injury problems in the past. I just think there's a lot of question marks for the Nationals, especially after they've been whiffing so
I think
much.
It's a lose-lose situation for the Nationals, or a lose-lose-lose.
I think it's another disaster of an offseason.
You didn't get Sale, right? Now you have possibilities of. I mean, the biggest rumor is to New York for Bryce, because if anybody's going to pay,
everybody's been talking about that.
For years now. Okay, and then if you don't get McCutchen, then you have to overspend on Chapman. That's still a loss. Okay, having Chapman's great, 40, 45 saves,
and
but
a lot of money is locked up
for
Strasburg.
Yeah, and that's true too.
And
that's
Boris,
true too.
Boris, but also if people don't follow, Shohei Ohtani, I'm not sure if I'm saying it correctly, is considered the Japanese Babe Ruth. He's going to be posted next season, and reportedly, it's going to be around $300 million, what it will cost you. If Ohtani gets around anywhere near that, I was saying it's a lot. Harper's getting $400.
Oh, absolutely.
Because Boris's angle is going to be, hey, Stanton got $250 million, never won an MVP, never really hit 300, okay? and he's always hurt. Harper, not hurt that often, playing through injury, has won an MVP, under 25. I mean, I could really see it happening, and I do think it's going to happen. I just don't know what team. I don't think the Yankees are personally going to do it because of the way they're operating.
I don't think so, but if anybody would, it would be them because we know they have the money to do it.
I don't think I would be shocked either way.
Okay,
but the way things are going right now for the Yankees, I don't see them doing that. I think they're going to be a lot more. They're a lot more. They calculate their moves
a lot better.
A lot better than most teams do because they didn't pay up for Cano.
Right. Can we talk about Mike Trout then?
Trout.
He's going to be out of Los Angeles.
Do you trade him because I think they're going to have the money to pony up and
but you know what?
And keep him.
They can give him all they want, but
I think he's a loyal kind of guy.
I think he is too, but I think he also wants to, deserves to, and needs to win. And they are not making any moves. They don't have a good farm system right now. They don't have much help.
No, they don't.
They're a declining franchise.
They don't.
Pujols
and
only
they can't
however
trade
many
anyone.
years left. They don't really have it. They have to trade Mike Trout. Are you just going to keep going into every season with losing expectations?
You're right.
Place expectations
unless
every year?
Unless they hit on all their prospects and all their prospects come up and play better than expected. But when does that ever happen? When do good prospects actually even come up and play up to their expectations?
That's when you see the franchises that pan out. The Giants. The Giants is an example because the Giants is the best example. The Royals, another good example.
Player development.
The Rays. Yep. I mean, these teams. The Cardinals
as
well.
Cardinals.
At the same time, he said the Cardinals historically have great farm system.
Even the Marlins, even though they trade away their guys, they do a good job of developing.
Yeah, the Marlins too, and even recently the Dodgers.
Yeah.
So, the chances of this happening in LA are not big at all. No. You have to trade Mike Trout.
I think you do too because look at what you got for sale. What do you think you can get for Trout?
Oh man, 6-7 guys for Trout.
And just throwing it out there, Cubbies. Give up Schwarber, give up your top young prospects, give him a pitcher. If you get Mike Trout on that team, what?
Yeah.
Your 3, 4, 5 can be Trout, Bryant, Rizzo. And then you got other good guys. I would give up Javi Baez too. And the Cubs have a great farm system.
So you'd say Trout for Schwarber? I mean, it has unless it's
Schwarber's a
Fowler
definite.
Just got the deal, right?
Schwarber's a definite.
Fowler just got the deal. So
Schwarber's a definite. Javi Baez is a definite.
Baez.
Wilson Contreras. Or
you can't go. I mean, maybe Montero.
Montero's running out his contract money, so I don't think he's there much longer.
I mean, you're not going to go with Contreras. That leaves him with no catcher. I mean, leaves him with just Montero. They're not going to. They're too high on.
But I mean,
Schwarber
if you can get
Wilson.
at least Schwarber and Baez is great so far.
And
because you're an American League team, so you could put Schwarber as your DH.
Yeah, Schwarber, Baez, and a starter maybe, and the end prospects as well. I think probably 6 guys. Probably three big leaguers
because those are 2 proven guys.
Yeah.
And then, hey, I mean, you really look at it. I think it might be a possibility.
That would be something.
I think it's some matchup. I think because it works out because it's a team that has the ability to re-sign Trout and give out the players. But if I really do think, I think it's the two biggest names in baseball, team-wise, is 2 of the biggest team names. I think it's Cubs and Yankees. I think the Yankees. I think they might pull the trigger. I think if the Yankees can, I think they should go for Trout, 100%.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And if he doesn't, I say we start the Mike Trout to the Cubs bandwagon because you could because
I think it's a certain possibility
assemble one of the best teams of all time. They already are.
I think the scary and underrated part about the Cubbies is that they won when they were young.
Yeah,
and that's the most invaluable thing going into the postseason.
Seen teams like the Rays get there and then they don't and they have to disband the whole team. The Cubs have done it, so now we're gonna.
But it's scarier when a big market young team wins because that's what happened with the Yankees.
Yeah.
In the late 90s, all the way through the 2000s.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they didn't win much through the 2000s, but they won 5 titles in general with that whole core.
Right.
And 5 titles, it's a hell of a lot more than any franchises do in general across all sports.
Yeah.
So
you have a permanent monopoly on the league you're playing. So
and I mean the Hayward contract. I mean, if Hayward actually plays up to
somewhat
of his potential, I know he's got to fix the swing.
They did that with him playing so poorly. If he just plays half as good as he could be, we're looking at 2-3 more.
Yep, and I mean, and I think it's a certain possibility, and we know like the Cubbies sold out when they were terrible, and they're selling out now, and they're gonna get a bunch more fans because they won, and we're in the age of the bandwagon era. I think the Cubbies are going to be dominant to come for the next 10 to 15 years, and I truly mean that, especially if they're going to be able to, if they're going to have the cash for it, and if they keep on developing guys like they have been, because
Right.
I don't see anyone dethroning the Cubs. Okay, so that'll wrap it up for
And
this
like
segment.
I said, Chris Bryant. We're looking at 4 MVPs. We already
4
got
MVPs.
one. We
Hey, I
already
mean,
got one.
people thought David Wright was a lock for 3 at least,
Hey, we already
and
got
he didn't
one.
even get 1.
We already got one.
Well, yeah, he did get 1. That's a big difference. All right, we're going to be back after this. We're going to be talking some more baseball and other teams and their outlooks for their upcoming seasons and what moves they might have to make. P&P Sports back after this.